This story happened in the Bryansk region 20 years ago, in winter. Forester Stepanych was returning home from Zaimka after another round of forestry. Of course, it was possible to spend the night on loans, as it sometimes happened, but he decided to return because he promised Masha's wife to come. It's her birthday today. It was a very frosty and windy day. Stepanych, of course, knew that there were wolves in these forests, especially in winter, roaming in whole packs. I saw footprints in the clearing yesterday. Wolves are smart and cunning animals. Seeing the trail of a wolf, a simple person will think that this is one animal that has passed. But Stepanych, with 20 years of experience as a forester, immediately realized that not one animal had passed, but a whole pack. They followed each other. He had a rifle with him, which he hardly ever used unnecessarily. So, just in case, I took you never know what. After all, this is a forest, and unforeseen circumstances may arise. Stepanich's path was not very long. When he comes out of the forest, he crosses the field along the forest path, and there his village is already there. In general, 4 kilometers. While Stepanych was walking through the forest, the path was visible. The pale moon and countless stars illuminated it. The forest was silent. In this silence, there was only the crackling of the trees from the frost and the crunching of snow underfoot. But gradually it got completely dark. The moon disappeared, and a cloud covered it. Suddenly Stepanych saw 2 sparkling lights ahead of him. He even stopped in surprise. Wolves, the old man thought. The forester took a closer look. There are lights on the left and right too. I looked back and the back sparkled. That's it, the end. That's what's been overlaid. Stepanych thought with fear in his soul. Should I shoot? But there are a lot of them. I won't have time to shoot next time. He thought and hesitantly, with a tremor in his heart, slowly walked forward. The wolves also moved, but they did not dare to approach him yet. Maybe they won't touch it. The forester thought. He knew that it was very rare for wolves to attack humans. But it's winter now. The wolves are hungry and angry. And everyone knows that hunger changes not only the behavior of people, but also animals. Apparently, somehow it is necessary to escape. Climb a tree. There is no other way out, Stepanych reflected. And the wolves were getting closer and closer. Fear pierced the forester's whole soul. And then, as luck would have it, the moon appeared from behind a cloud, illuminated the path and the trees. Stepanych decided to climb a tree, but did not leave the gun, although it was inconvenient to climb with it. Maybe it will also come in handy now, he thought. The forester quickly grabbed the trunk of the tree and, with all his strength, began to climb up. The higher, the safer, he decided. He felt a small branch with his foot, which did not let him slide down, because the branches are fragile in winter. And here Stepanych was lucky. The wolves did not even have time to come to their senses. As the prey left them, they could not get to it. The old man climbed up, sat down on one of the branches, a thicker one, clasped the trunk with both hands for safety and involuntarily began to examine his pursuers. First, a mature, huge wolf approached the tree, apparently the leader of the packs. He began to sniff Stepanich's tracks around the tree, and then other wolves came up. They walked around the tree, sniffing the forester's tracks, lifting their heads up and greedily looking at the unattainable prey. After a while, calming down a little and pulling himself together, Stepanych broke the neighboring dry branches and with all his might began to throw at the pack of wolves. The wolves moved, but did not leave. Then Stepanych fired up from the gun, but swayed violently and the gun fell out of his hands right on the ground. The wolves instantly scattered in different directions from surprise, and then completely disappeared into the forest thicket. But the forester thought that it was still very dangerous to climb down from the tree, because wolves can just wait for their prey somewhere nearby. When Stepanych walked along the forest path, he did not feel the cold, but now, after sitting on a tree without moving for some time, he began to feel sick and the frost tingled all parts of his body. If I could move now, the branches would break. But in this cold, they break even more easily, and then I would definitely fall from the tree, Stepanych thought. Wrapping the sheepskin coat as tightly as possible, he lifted the collar, hugged the tree even tighter with his hands, and began to think what to do next. The forester began to feel sleepy from the cold. He understood that he could not sleep, but against his will he began to doze sweetly, which took away his strength. Stepanych cheered himself up a little, patting his cheeks alternately with his hands, and began to think about his wife Masha. After all, she is waiting for him now. She is worried, and he must definitely return to her alive and well because they love each other, and if something happens to him, she simply will not survive it. Moreover, she has a heart condition, and her son has already grown up. He has his own family and lives far from them. It's been 2 hours since he was in the tree. The wolves are already gone, Stepanych thought. I'll just catch my breath and go downstairs, the forester told himself, gathering the last of his strength and will into a fist. Grabbing the trunk with stiffened hands and leaning on his feet, he began to descend. Stepanych saw, besides the numerous footprints around the pine tree, one deep trail that led into the thicket of the forest. We have followed in the footsteps we are building, Stepanych thought and calmed down. He went down, picked up the gun, which helped him out this time, and barely, moving with stiff legs, left the forest, walked across the field. It was already getting light, but the village was still asleep. No smoke could be seen above the roofs, no dog barking could be heard, and only the light was on in the window of his house. His beloved wife Masha, as he called her, was still waiting for him. This is the story that happened to the forester Stepanych.